Hello, good morning, happy Monday. Welcome to the third week of 2020. Thank you so much for editing this photo of all-time low with me. I learned a lot by looking through your edits, and there's a lot of them. I'm going to have them scrolling down the side of the screen so you can kind of look at them while I talk a little bit here. But this image was taken a few years ago on a tour with All-Time Low. A little bit about it, there was a lot of colors. We have blues and purples, which are kind of difficult, but you could bring some colors out of this, and I saw some examples of that, so good job with it. We had fire as per requested. If there's any type of image you want to request, just ask. I'll release it. We can do it together. The goal here is for you guys to be like, hey, we want to learn how to do this, and then I'll release that, and then we'll learn how to do that, and then we'll figure out what we want to do next. And I'm excited for this week's as well, which we'll get to at the end of this video. But first, let's talk about the image a little bit more in depth. So, like I said, I took this photo of all-time low. It's in London or somewhere else in the UK. I'm not exactly sure. Actually, it's not in London, but it's in the UK. And I took it on the end of a monopod. So what that means is I raised it up above my head real high, and then I took it pretty much blind because I have a remote. I can't see it. You know, there's not enough time to remotely connect to my viewfinder and look at it through a screen because the delay just wouldn't work with how fast everything happens at a concert. It needs to be very, very quick. That being said, it did take me a long time to develop this. Here's like a pretty old image. Somebody took this at work tour of me. I don't even remember who, but I used to do this with a C-stand. And a C-stand, or I think that's what it was, or some kind of lighting stand, and I would raise it all the way up, and then I would use the boom arm and raise that all the way up. And it was so heavy and so ridiculous. And I don't know how somebody never came up to me and like tapped me on the shoulder and was like, what are you doing? Anyway, that is how I used to shoot this, and it kind of developed over time. It got a little lighter, more mobile, and now I'm able to shoot concerts pretty easily with a monopod. I just launch it up over my head, hold it, sometimes on the side of stage like this, sometimes behind the drummer, and sometimes in the photo pit. You can see me in this 21 Pilots show shooting this from the photo pit with a monopod, and that is how I get those shots where you just want to be up a little bit higher because some of these venues are huge, right? They have so many people, and just shooting from eye level, you miss so much. So getting the camera up higher allows me to kind of get a wider angle, get all the fans in the shot, because that's the cool part. You know, there's so many people in this venue. You want to get them all in the photo, take that, and then show that to people and be like, hey, look at all these people that came to our concert. So that is my job when it came to covering these concerts for All-Time Low. Anyway, let's go ahead and go through how I would edit this image. And then after that, I'll go through some of my favorites of your edits. And then after that, I'll release next week's photo that you can edit along with, and hopefully report back next week and see if you made the YouTube video. All right, cool. Here we go. Okay, so here's the photo in Lightroom. And at first I was like, wow, this is not that many great colors in the image. But if you pretty much change the temperature, you can see that the blues are just hiding everything. So from here, you can see there's yellows in those fireworks. You can see there's purple in the crowd, there's some blue in the crowd, and even just making that simple tweak really changes this image. And now I look at the image and I'm like, okay, what else do I want to do? We've got some hot spots down here, so we want to make those a little darker because if we try to make everything brighter, it's just not going to work. And then we want to pull out this bottom area because we want to see these artists on stage. So, you know, who's playing the show, who's at the show, and what's happening, right? The goal of the image is to tell a story, and we want to make sure you can understand that story. So I'm going to bring this up because I just don't like that thing on the bottom. I think it's a little distracting. Then I'm going to bring this in a little bit just to kind of even it out. Then let's go ahead and, yeah, let's make this area a little bit less bright. So we'll bring down the highlights. We'll turn off this color because there shouldn't be any color. We'll paint around here just to bring these highlights down a little bit in the crowd. That's going to help even everything out when we go and edit here. Don't need this as bright as it is. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Get done with that. That'll just help a little bit. And now we're going to brighten the bottom area a little bit more. Just so we can bring these people out. There we go. And we're just doing edits kind of all over to kind of help refocus the image. And then up top, I want to make it a little bit. Do we make it that bright? I don't think we make it that bright. So we just bring the highlights up a little bit just to brighten those up. Yeah, that looks cool. We can add some color too. Let's add some yellow. Does that matter? No, it doesn't matter too much. Do a little bit. And then from there, we can kind of start building our photo. We have a good palette. We have a good canvas, you know? It's like creating creating a blank canvas. So I'm going to bring out some more areas here. 1, go away. 2, we're on you. Add some contrast on the curves. Bring up the shadows a little bit. Bring up the highlights a lot. That looks kind of cool. And every time I edit a photo, it looks a lot different. It's really hard to edit the photo the same way twice, especially when you're doing it in such guerrilla style where it's just moving around, kind of doing crazy stuff. Let's check out the hue saturation here. So I'm going to use this one because there's so many colors going on here. Luminance up, luminance up, luminance up, saturation up of red, yellow, orange. I said those backwards, but you get the idea. Split toning. So let's do this. Shadows. This is where you can really change the image here if you want it to be darker or more warm, but I like the yellow because of the fireworks, so I want to show that the fireworks are kind of warming up the image here. Maybe if we make them colder, then they'll have even, oh, that's kind of cool too. I like that right there. Cool. And then I think he's getting a little bit bright, so let's bring it down a tiny bit. See, just a little bit. Same over here with this guy. All right, Jack, too bright. Cool, I think that kind of works. Show the before and the after. That's just some simple edits, and I know some people go a little more in depth than me, but for me, most of the work is done with taking the photo. That is the thing, and then the editing is used to kind of bring out the photo, right? It's like, okay, I want to show these things a little bit more, so I'm going to bring them out in post. And that's basically all I would do to this image. It doesn't have to be too crazy. We can check out these lens corrections if we want. That helps a little bit. Let's do that. Doesn't have to be too much all the time. Oh, that's good. I like how we get those fireworks to be a little more yellow here. That might be too yellow, to be real. There we go. There we go. Let's do that. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, well, that would be my edit for this image. Like I said, I don't edit too crazy. I just want to make everything stand out a little bit more. That's the before. That's the after. You can see there's a big difference here, and this is why it's important to shoot in RAW, so you can really pull out the details of the image. Anyway, let's look at some of your guys' edits, because these are much more interesting than my edits, and I gotta hand it to you, I learned a little bit, so we're gonna talk about that from each image. All right, first we have Felix Mitterer. And if I said your name wrong, I apologize. It's not intentional or malicious. It just happens because names are difficult. And Felix made a black and white image out of this, which I thought was interesting because I like the colors so much. But the main thing I learned out of this is that I liked how you got rid of 2 of the members of the band and made the focus 1 person. It actually changed the image a lot and got rid of a lot of the difficulties I was having for making the 2 other people on stage stand out. And I kind of like it. And that's what I learned from your images. Maybe you can kind of reshape what the focus is by getting rid of some of the things that are in there. And you did that. And this one actually draws my attention in more than pretty much any other edit. The contrast is a little bit much for me. That's not how I usually edit my photo, but that doesn't mean it's wrong, right? That's your style. This is what you did. And I learned something from you. So thank you for sharing this. Thank you for showing us what else we can do with the image, because I really appreciate you kind of editing it that way. And if you can notice, my voice is kind of dying. I'm a little bit sick, but I'm going to do this video, so I apologize if I'm running out of breath here. All right, next we have Samuel Stevens. And this image I picked, there's a lot of things I don't like about this image, I'll be honest. It's a little bit washed out. The colors aren't my favorite. There's something going on in front. But then I was like, well, I just don't like those because I wouldn't do it this way. But it's cool you did it this way because it's a whole nother take on something I would never think about doing. And it looks like you just laid an overlay over the top. And I think it's a copy of the fireworks laid over everything, and it just looks artsy. There's definitely some ways to fine tune this, and I think it would even look cool in black and white, or if you tweak the colors a little bit more. I don't like the washed out look for something like this, but it is very artsy, and I appreciate your edit and your different take on something that is kind of hard to do that with. So lastly, we have Christian. And Christian, you get the award for first place, or whatever you want to call it today, just because I like how you somehow made this image only 2 colors. I'm not quite sure how, if it's split tones or what, but this looks cool. And you really kind of changed the image a lot, but it still looks nice, and it's not too believable, but it could be believable because the fire's all red and the people are all red from the fire, and you're not quite sure how that would look at a concert all the time, but this looks cool. So thank you for editing it. I appreciate you submitting, and I look forward to what you do in the future because I know you can edit pretty crazy. So I'm keeping an eye on you, man. Thank you guys for editing. If I didn't get your images and you still want me to critique it, feel free to stick around after this and meet us on Twitch. It's twitch.com/elmachias or twitch.tv/elmachias, whatever works. They both work. Come in, submit your link, and I'll do my best to review. Like I said, I'm a bit sick this morning, so I'm not going to be able to stay for that long, but I'm trying my best here. Anyway, next week's image. So this is this week's image that we're going to be editing, and I saw that more people wanted to edit a portrait, and this is a very important image to me for multiple reasons. Mostly because Tyson was very special to me. He is no longer with us, but he was one of my favorite subjects to photograph, and this was from 2009, and it was during the first time I went on Warped Tour with them while we were rehearsing for Warped Tour. And I'll go more in depth on the image next week when we talk about the edits, but I just want to say that I learned a lot from editing this image. It was one of my first portraits I ever took where I was like, wow, look at this person's skin. It just tells a story. Look at their eyes. They communicate so much. And it's really special to me because he taught me so much just by letting me photograph him. So I hope by editing the image you can kind of see the connection this guy had with the camera, because it's pretty special. And yeah, that's all I really got on this one. It's just a really important image to me. I want to see what you guys do with this. I really look forward to it. I can't wait to edit it again. I haven't edited it in like 5 or 10 years, so, or I haven't edited it in probably about 5 years, so it'll be a fun one for everybody. Anyway, that's all I've got for you this Monday. I gotta go get ready and hopefully try to get less sick so I can shoot Friday's video without actually losing my voice. But I'll see you in a few days, or I'll see you next week whenever you want to come back and hang out on the YouTube internets. All right, take care, guys. Peace.